these ones here, these are times and divide. So this one's really quite difficult to think about because I have this 7 over 3 and I'm going to divide by some unknown number which I'm trying to figure out, and I end up with 9 over 14. So there's kind of lots of ways we can kind of do this. We can actually just kind of solve for this as times and then figure out what the number would have been if it was divide. Okay, that's kind of one way we can do it. But definitely we definitely want times in here. So I'm going to maybe do this. So since this is divide on the left hand side, I can undo this divide and show it as times on the right hand side. Okay, so in essence, I'm going to undo this divide with the times blank, and I'm going to do a times blank on this side. Okay, so that's one way of thinking it. We can think of this idea of undoing things, and in essence, although I don't know what that is, I'm just going to do the same thing to both sides. I'm going to times by that blank, and this times and divide, they undo each other, right? They are in what we call inverses of each other. They undo each other, and it's just going to leave me with 3 over 7. Okay, so these cancel out, and anytime we cancel out times and divide, we end up with 1. Okay, so now I have done kind of two things. I've kind of gotten rid of that divide, and now I've expressed it as a time. So that's kind of nice because that's really what I want. It's much easier to deal with things as times. So, but now I want to get rid of that times 9 over 14. So how do I get rid of that times 9 over 14? Well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide by 9 over 14. And if I do that on this side, and I better do this in a different color because I'm just adding that in. Okay, so if I'm gonna divide by 9 over 14, okay, now I could also multiply it by the reciprocal, but I'm just going to start it off as divide, and then I'm going to flip it after. Okay, I need to divide this side by 9 over 14. Or in other words, this is times 9 over 14. On this side, it's going to show up as divide. It's going to show up as the opposite on the other side of the equation. Okay, so this again simplifies to just 1. So we end up with 1. 9 over 14 divided by 9 over 14 is going to be 1. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to re-express this as times because, again, it's much easier to do this as a times problem. So I get times 14 over 9, and that equals our unknown fraction here. Well, I have some common factors I can cancel out. So there's a common factor of 7 that I can cancel out here. There's a common factor of 3 that I can divide out here. Okay, and then my final answer works out to be 2 over 3. So that unknown fraction, so if I say 7 divided by 3 divided by 2/3 equals 9 over 14. I better just double check that because, you know, this is a little bit hard to think through. Okay, so 7 over 3 over 7, and I'm going to just do the shortcut here. So divided by 2/3, I'm going to times by the reciprocal, opposite, opposite, and then that's going to give me 9 on top, 14 on bottom. Okay, so there's my check. So this is my check. Yeah, it works. Okay, I got 9 over 14. Yeah, that's the right answer. For this one here, well, this one's a little bit easier because I don't need to mess around with something I don't know. I can just get rid of this divide 1/2 with a times 1/2 on both sides. Okay, so again, this divide 1/2 times 1/2, these undo each other. Okay, so all I'm left with is this unknown fraction on this side, and we have some common factors that we can simplify out here. I have a common factor of 2, so I'm going to divide 2, and then I'm going to be left with 2 times 1 on top and 5 times 1 on bottom. Okay, so that's going to be my final calculation here. So that's equal to that.